Mesdames et messieurs, attention, je vais vous faire une chanson. Le sujet en est ambitieux. De mon image, je suis soucieux. En 1990, c'est l'heure des communications. Depuis le début de ce siècle, nous avons vu l'apparition du moteur forge à l'explosion, puis de l'avion à réaction. Mais de toutes les inventions, c'est sans doute la bombe à neutrons qui nous laissera le plus baba au cours du célèbre Hiroshima dès 1990. Devrait nous laisser tous en noir, devrait nous laisser tous gaga. La guerre technologique fait rage. C'est un super méga carnage. Attention, voilà les avions qui se séparent de l'émission. 1990, c'est la conscientisation. 1990, c'est la conscientisation. Fini les nombreux, fini du sport, du jogging et de la cigarette. La preuve en est nos soldats américains qui sont là-bas. Français à la vitalité, nourris nos fibres équilibrées. Les morts qui seront faits là-bas seront nombreux sauver du croix. Les symptômes qui sont vulnérables n'ont pas été payés en vain. La preuve en est il est possible
de ne jamais rater sa cible. Nous allons être audacieux in English. Don't worry, this is Jean Leloup. Welcome, beautiful and amazing people, to this Their Real Agile of the Agile Wars series, episode 42. I see a private member and okay, that's right. Come on, have a seat, have a sip of your coffee, your drink. December the 16th, we are live on this Friday, December the 16th. Hello there, Ryan. Welcome. We are going to provide in the chat later, around 12:30ish Eastern, the Zoom chat to open up for some question and calls. The music you are listening now, it's from Quebec, Jean Leloup. Jean Leloup, John the Wolf for the Tiger. Just to test the entry everywhere. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, Instagram, and linked out. Yes, sir. Already 50% sold out for the January 26th Scrum Beer number 20. Link are in the description of YouTube. Yes. Okay, I think we are almost ready to start with the subject. Yes. Do you understand that, you English people? The DJ saved my soul with that song of the coalition of the first Gulf War, the collapse of the Soviet Union. Oh my God, Coach F. What the F are you talking about this Friday the 16th for the Their Real Agile episode 45? That will be there, probably some on Spotify, on Apple, for those who run with me. It's going to be available between the last Friday of December this year. Probably next Friday we're going to do that. All right, guys, so let's lower the music of Jean Leloup 1990 Already 32 years ago, that song. Could you imagine that? And yes, DJ saved my life with the song. And we're going to let some music in the background, very slowly. So welcome once again in the Agile Lounge for Business Agility. I am your host and crazy Agile coach, Coach AF, known by my real name, Alexandre Frédéric Joly, broadcasting live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. So today, what we are going to talk about, it came from three inspiration I have lately. I was providing a training to a development team, an intro training to the Agile mindset from the Agile Manifesto, and also introduce them to the possibility of configuring Scrum into their team. And at some point, when we were going through the value and the principles, and one of the engineer asked me the question, by the way, what do you think, AF? Is Agile something subversive to us becoming communisms because of all of those companies and organizations out there implementing in parallel with what they still call in the old world the agile transformation. They want to do this DIE, diversity, inclusion, and equity inside the corporation, and also the strategic kind of central planning or the standardization of governance into the corporation with ESG. And one of the engineers also pointed out the latest article with a book from Steve Denning called Reinventing Capitalism. So in that sense, and let's go see together the result of the poll. And truly, LinkedIn, I don't understand what's going on. I've got 2,400 followers, something so far. There have been about 5,000 views of this and only 3 votes. So anyways, and apparently among the 3 voters of the 1,000 I've seen the poll survey, they mentioned that, hold on a second, here it is. Is it? I hope it's the right one. Anyways, let's just, okay. Yeah, that's the survey. Perfect. Let me just, like this maybe. Is it big enough? Tell me in the chat if it's big enough. Is it big enough? It seems to be big enough. But anyways, we'll see about it. It seems to be a latency right now. So remember that we are going to be some sync of 30-second delay with LinkedIn, only 15 seconds on YouTube. And let me show you. So now, yes, 3 people voted about an amount of 3,000 people who've seen the post, and even with the comment and stuff. And 2/3 says it's the Agile movement or the Agile philosophy, the mindset should help us actually improve capitalism. So we kind of stick with the free market type of range and stuff. And somebody made, okay, that's right, I have to scroll here there. Somebody made a comment, I think it's Mr. Mizik. I hope he will join on the call. Now you're really throwing the moves on the table. Yes, okay, so he was not voting. So, but he is right. It's epic confrontation between the centralizer and the decentralizer. And we're going to see it like very, very soon about it, because that was the meaning of Mr. Denning article also that we're going to see together. So welcome, Ryan. Welcome, Greg. And as I said, we are going to put all the link in the pinned comment of YouTube and Rumble because I don't care about linked out. And linked out doesn't give me the opportunity of providing you a great UX and UI experience, gentlemen. So that's why you will have to come to my YouTube channel after the show. We're going to pinned comment with reference article of Steve Dennings and others, including what we're going to talk today. So here's the thing, and maybe before, because I received some kind of private mail from a soi-disant Agile coach, and I thought Agilists are people open mind and being able to discover any type of topics and stuff like that. And to my surprise, people will F-word me and S-word me in private, telling me that I'm completely a lunatic to to call in that Agile could be communist. But by the way, I have someone who's listening with me. He also part of, I said I have three inspirations. So my training to a dev team asking about this social engineering with DIE and ESG is environmental, social, and governance in the corporation. And this Agile movement, more and more hijacked by OCM people. OCM stands for Organization Change Management. These people have no clue about software development. They have no clue about business agility, but they mingle into our agile transformation. I don't believe on transformation. I believe in evolution over transformation, because you have to adopt that mindset and start uncovering new ways, as the manifesto invite us to do. And after you accept the invitation, it's time to agree on how we are going to do this. So for me, if you ask me, of course, it's a shocking title, and I saw it shock at least 3 coaches, 2 from Montreal, 1 from abroad. They private message me to say I'm lusting it, but I'm not lusting it. I mean, if we are agile, we have to uncover, we have to be innovator and adopter of many things, and music nail it, because it's exactly the point of probably Steve Denning and myself and other thinker. It's about those who want central plan or bureaucratic environment, the alpha organization. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, about the beta codex. So those alpha organization, the thing of the past, very hierarchical, besides substantial and circular kind of management or leadership, where people have a more say. The self-organizing team is not chaotic. It should be something that empower responsible adults that want to work together. And this, I think we need a free market to do so. We need the freedom of choice, the freedom of movement, the freedom of speech, not the freedom of be safe. I don't want to change my safety. And by the way, in my thumbnail, I did put the study of liberty, because I didn't know about to represent capitalism. My publisher was giving me a lot of things like Coca-Cola. So that wasn't the point. I was completely stupid. So I think the study of liberty, asking us to be pro, asking us to be innovator, to be, a lot more meaningful, that was the thing. And I put there decentralized and open over safe, open space over safe space. So that was the thing. So I see a couple of chat. I won't pay any attention right now. As I said, I'm going to open the Zoom and give you the Zoom link and the chat for those who want to call in. It's like calling a radio station today. And remember, this is a Dare Real Agile podcast, so it's for 80% of my follower, those who grab it and download it from Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Audible. We are everywhere. We are 32 places, like even Amazon Prime have my podcast now, and iHeartRadio for the people in Mexico and down there. So here's the thing. And Ryan, you'll explain me about it. It's not a false binary. We have to do, unfortunately, for the pleb, for the masses, they have to have a black and white, 1 versus 1. And for me, of course, I like to nuance it. And this is what we're gonna try today. So one of the thing here is that inspire me. So that question from the developer, they were questioning the fact that there's an ambience in the Western country now to be more central planning, to be more, we talked about innovation. And by the way, another inspiration was also one of my listeners right now who says Denning is a communist. Well, anyways, I know for American, being communist is very boom, boom, boom. But also in my research before the show, when you could do it yourself on DocDoc or Google, you said is Agile Communist? Just ask the question. And there's a couple of articles on Medium and one on GitHub where they talk about, because these are the PMPs, these are the classical alpha organization, thinking that Agile as a noun instead of an adjective, it's something utopic. Right? It's an utopia instead of a dystopian. And that's why they say it's never worked, because they don't know shit about what is real agile movement, the real business agility with or without conscious leadership. So that's the thing. So of course they will say agile is communist because communists never work, which is, I kind of agree, sort of. You have to be imposed. But here's the thing, for those who remember the great roundtable with Jim Verkus, Daniel Mizik, Michael Engleton, and Sue Ryu that we have last March, talking about the age of imposition. That was the opening of this Agile Wars. And this question, the moves on the table, the elephant in the room that the community don't want to talk, or they're being offended about this, or they find it too much binary. But the binary aspect is just to attract people and shock them. Then after, I couldn't care because. And the real question is this agile thing after 20 some years of the Agile Consortium that lead to the manifesto and those value proposition with the creation of patterns. And then now the world of business, the world of work was transforming. Now we talked about adoption and evolution, and the entire society is in full bloom right now. We are in a split in our life, individually and collectively, whether you like it or not. It's a cycle that's repeated every 75, 100 years because a lost generation is completely disappearing. They're not there to remind us of the thing. So here's the thing. So, and the question arises too. I had a meeting yesterday, very interesting meeting with engineer people who work in augmented reality, virtual reality, and that kind of meta shit that I call it, metaverse. And they were asking like, how is business agility was supposed to help us in digital transformation first and foremost, and it is supposed to help us now in the time of crisis and the time of, especially when there's a big VUCA. So that was there for that, apparently. And the funny thing is right now they want to automate even the programming, the complex programming or the redundant task and the machine coding and everything, and to save a lot of hours. So the consulting firm start to realize that utilizing the thing to speed up the process or to automate everything will then human obsolete. So nothing is, in the next 10, 20 years, nothing is there for the humanity, for the human being. It's all there for the machine. It's all there for the antisocial pact. And funny enough, you have all of that work culture with the diversity, inclusion shit and equity and so on and so on. That nothing is on merit anymore. Nothing is on performance. Nothing is on supra quality. It's all mediocrity. It's all socializing the masses and keeping the elite and those at the top very, very ultra capitalism. So that's kind of my editorial thought. And and these are the questions. So, and why is this agile community sliding into factions even more than prior to the manifesto with those many type of framework and software development practice? And or it is, in my sense, is those with an alpha centralized mind of command and control versus the self-managed, self-organized, decentralized, open source, open mind way of approaching similarly what's happening in our society as a whole. Because I dare you to church imposition or force or mandatory. That's amazing how much we are being imposed right now in all aspects of our life, even with climate change. And I'm not talking about believing or not believing if it exists or what have you. It's just the thing that there's people who tend to think for us. And now I'm going to show you one of the latest articles from Denning that inspire a bit of this podcast. If I could have the share button here. I hope it's going to work. It's an experience with a PDF. So tell me in the chat if you see on my screen, because the feedback, okay, it's really small. Let's see if I do this. Not even. Jesus Christ. And if I try that like that, is it better? No, it's not. The what here? Here. Yeah. So let me go back here. Okay. And if I put full screen, sort of. No change. Okay, so that's the article, guys. It's called Another Form of Fake Agile, the Agile Sweatshop, because Denning had posted in May 2019 an article about fake Agile. We describe a lot of the inflation of certification, like I have the same mindset, the Agile Industrial Complex, the imposition. So, Ryan, you said it's better in full screen, but I don't see like this. If you say so, but for me, on my feedback from the studio, I don't see any difference. But if it's better for you, let's do it. Let me see if it's okay without my face in the corner. So, so in May 2019, he started and he continued at Martin Fowler and other co-sanitary has spoken about this fake agile, this fake it till you make it. This is totally wrong, by the way. You have the right to mistake. Yes, you have the right to learn from your mistake, but don't fake it till you make it. Do the real thing. That's why we are called their real agile, because you have to do the real thing, learn the real thing. Shu Ari, right? Shu, learn from one master, then after start bending the rule and tailor it, and then after teach it to the world. So this is exactly part of the introduction of the manifesto anyways, if you want to create pattern. So what I like here on this article, if you still see it properly on the screen with my highlighting, it's agile and concept. It's the antithesis of a sweatshop, because that's the thing with the big firm of consulting, with the Agile Industrial Complex, with the M position, with an alpha organization wanting to transform with agile, or an agile transformation as a noun instead of an adjective. That's what they create. They create sweatshop. A lot of developers come to me as their agile coach in the organization, with even the Scrum Master. And we did a show 2 weeks ago about the Scrum Master being diminished to a clerk. It's disgusting. The Scrum Master, it's a powerful asset to any organization. And I love the according to McKinsey here. Okay. Anyway, so we could go back to this, but these are the problem. These are creating those sweatshop of developer, even diminishing the role of the coach, the role of the facilitator as a servant leader, that the Scrum Master here. And the Scrum Master, again, is the coach that masters Scrum. Do you really master Scrum? Are you able to help the team achieve a goal and something? So you see, so that's why, like, everything that's happening since 2010, and I observe it, and I used to be able to talk about it with co-sanitary, and it was very fun. Now, right now, everybody is shooting everywhere, and we have this doubt. People are doubting if we are bringing value with this word. It's becoming the A word. Could you imagine that? Especially here in Canada and United States. And the article of Denning that I will put the link. Now I've got a PDF. I'll tell you why, guys. Because the website of Forbes is disgusting with all those pop-up. And even if I do some ads blocker, so I didn't want to share this kind. So that's why I put in a PDF to have peace of mind. So, and they give an example about the Amazon Fulfillment Center. It's not just about software development team, by the way. They say they are agile. So this is the thing. It's like the society. We socialize the masses with the diversity, inclusion, and blah, blah, blah. But we keep, we keep the elite doing whatever they want. So, and so I love is binary thing, Ryan, is about agile mindset versus bureaucratic mindset. I'm more, as I will always been, a decentralizer myself. So for me, my binary type of bias is central plan versus decentralized, open versus safe, whatever. But it's more than that, and we will be able to talk about it in about 10-15 minutes. But here's the thing. So we're going to put, again, on the pine comment of Rumble and YouTube, you're going to have like the after show type of reference that you could go through to read it by yourself and make it your own mind. But that was the the inspiration for this kind of the moment. And I know we did start the Real Agile because of too many papers back in 2019 about people calling out that the Agile Manifesto was actually a manifest for feminism. Can you imagine that? So people are talking shit all around the world. So that's why, like, 3 colleagues of mine says that the title of today, I am talking shit. So thank you very much, or fuck you very much, should I say. I don't care of the opinion of sheep, because for me, it's important to have, yes, a binary subject like a boxing. Let's wear the glove and let's have a boxing match and compare 2 ideas and the social system or social engineering. And to tell you the truth, after 23 years of practice and working with as much as IT, business, marketing and sales, finance, and those kind of people who I wonder what the fuck they do, the OCM people, the organization or enterprise change management people, where they bring up some big psychology, ID, neuroscience, what do you say in English is neuro-linguistic programmation? What the fuck is that? Do you want to manipulate mind, or do you want to invite people to embrace change or to embrace something new? So this is what the manipulation in the world of business right now, and for years, by the way, that's really, I find it disgusting. And if people cannot get maturity enough and they don't want to learn NLP in English. That's what I thought, like neuro linguistic programming. That's disgusting. I mean, this might be a great science between it, but that's the problem. When I see coaches spending and investing a lot of time doing psychology, and I remember when my mom was alive, she was a great psychologist here in Quebec. And she said, if you are a coach, my son, don't even mingle into that. You could inspire yourself by some kind of base of psychology and sociology, but stick to the point of what you have to coach it. You don't diagnose your client. You don't try to influence your client with methods of neuro-linguistic and stuff like this. So I find my colleague who do that very disgusting. It's not our place to do so. It should be more regulated in that sense, even if I'm against most of the regulation. But I think like we play with human beings, for God's sake, with their emotion, with stuff like this. So it's very, very a thin line for me. And then collectively speaking, so that's the thing. So more and more, Agile has a bad name because of the imposition, because of it's often led by alpha mindset or alpha organization mindset or people from the old ways. And so that's why I'm even discovering in the last 5 years, my winning team, my winning organization is startup that become unicorn, which is $1 billion after 1 or 2 years. They get it, and they don't even call it Agile. They don't care. By the way, Apple and Amazon, the 2A of the GAFA, because the Google and Facebook is shit. At least Apple and Amazon, whatever your opinion of it, it's at least they produce something. You have a good, you have something. It's not like Facebook where they produce nothing else than psychological warfare. Actually, Google the same. So the GAFA for me, it doesn't exist. It's the double A of the beta codex. So those organizations, at least, they are agile without saying they are agile. They don't brag about that fucking word. They just do shit. They just deliver shit, and they deliver good. Okay, whatever you think or not, I know there's a lot of things, and even in the article of Dennings, you will discover how much the sweatshop is everywhere now. But it's a sweatshop at $30 an hour to work in a warehouse next to an airport. So yeah, anyways, so modern slavery, huh? So don't get me started. So anyways, so are we going to do in 2023? Some people declare it the year of collaboration. So how do we collaborate? If we are, as Ryan put in the chat, the false binary of free versus plan. I kind of agree with that, and I will let you jump if you'd like on the Zoom very soon to have a conversation. But for me, it's not that polarization, but we have a polarization in every aspect of our life, especially in the West. As I travel a lot, I realize that in the West right now, there's a split. There's a split in every level of society between people who wants to be more organic. And I'm not just talking about food and stuff. It's organic. I mean, being a human being, having less technology with them, and those who want to go back. Not in the Middle Age, of course. There's a lot of ecologist people. I don't know exactly, but anyways, I'm opening it in about 5 minutes, and I have to end the show at 1 because I have a client meeting at 1:30. So that will be the deal. So anyway, for my listener who ran with us, I just want to apologize because I think I use a language of showing you the screen. So anyways, for those who are running with me on the Dairy and Agile podcast, by the way, this is a live transmission on YouTube and Rumble. So once again, in the description of Spotify and Apple, you'll have the link to see our face and hear the things. So, what else I would like to talk about before opening the thing is, oh yes, and many discussion we have about this. So it's not about defining if Agile is more capitalism or communism or whatever. So, but could it be a mean for some people or some organization to, as I said, socializing the masses? I think, unfortunately, yes. I've seen it, especially when they embrace those DIE type of thing where they think they will be inclusive. But if you have diversity and inclusion in the same program, you create exclusion, because to include some people, you will exclude some others. So, nothing is perfect. Nothing is black and white. And I think we have to use a more common sense, a more intelligence over intellectualism, and less strategy, more culture and action, that I like to call it. Because yes, I mean, it's all about what we are co-creating together. And if you are centralized, that's mean that you might impose something, and every medium to large scale organization that don't achieve their business or digital transformation well enough, it's because they don't want to change their organization culture or their organizational design, or they think that the model for one of their department or one of their team could be scaled all across the organization the same way, like a receipt. Like everybody's it's eating lasagna all of a sudden. Really? What if I want to know soboko or some French cuisine? You know, because maybe in some department and the bank, I won't name the bank, but do you think like the people who are in charge of developing product for mortgage and credit have the same kind of goal or reality or objective key result than those who are talking about investment, commodity, and so on and so on? So you see, even into the product-based type of thing, you should be decentralized. You should embrace the real diversity. So that's, for me, all the dichotomy I see in the world of business right now, in the world of work, like all of these layoffs, and it's going to be even worse in the first quarter of 2023, by also saying that we lack workers who could actually what do you call it? Yeah, so they're looking for specialized or SME or I don't know, but at the same time they lay off a lot of people who are supposed to do the job. So because they miss their target, they miss their profitability because of the inflation, because we are in recession, even if nobody wants to admit it. So that's the great split for me. It's a great split, materialistically speaking, business wise, employment. So things, and then of course we could be pushed, we could be manipulated to request for change. An innovator don't think about change. We think about trying new things empirically. But that's the thing too. Some social engineer, whatever the social system they have in the background, socialism, communist, capitalism, or reinventing capitalism and blah, blah, blah. What they do is they kind of impose incrementally what's going on in society and to corporation. 20 some years ago, when I started to be a Scrum Master, I've seen it. They wanted to scale the achievement, that the fact that we were winning, delivering value more rapidly than any other PM Buck type of thing, or even Prince 2. But instead of inviting people to see if it was appropriate to them, they were imposing this kind of recipe into different value streams. And it didn't work, for sure. So, and we still 20 some years later like this. And I remember also this change management thing, that when it started appearing, they always there to distract people about any really meaningful goal for the satisfaction of the customer of that company or the employee elevation with their professional development. No, it was all of a sudden, keep them busy changing things or implementing new software and implementing new digitalization of things. So when they're busy like this, they don't have a think about their professional development. They don't have a think about, and the customer, it's cat and two, that we change our rules and this and that. So it's always like they keep that pace, this continuous pace, as a pressure to the workers and even to the customer. And it's creating a world where nobody has time to pause, breathe, and think. In nature, maybe sometimes if you start doing it, let me know. Oh, you will have more new ideas coming up. When you go run in a park, and then after you run, you stop, you breathe, you meditate, you observe, you listen to the birds and the squirrel. I don't know. So let's open up for some calls for the next half hour. I think I've said mostly what I've thought, but there's so much to say about it, and I want to hear from. Sorry about my voice. So I don't know if Ryan, Craig, and Danielle, you hear. I'm just in the studio right now. You won't be seen, only your voice will be heard if you have a good microphone. If your microphone is not good, well, so let me give you the link once again. Mm-hmm. Well, here it is. No, this is not what I want. So it's really simple. I'll give the link in the chat. So wherever you are, and I'm waiting for your call. Here for the next half hour before we close the show, I get a client engagement at 1:30. So, and again, I would like to thank very much the 19 new subscriber on YouTube. And also, that was amazing to see the growth we had on the podcast, especially the podcast. For me, that was amazing to see that this year we grow amazingly. So I thank you very much, everyone. And I know a lot of people are starting to buy me a coffee to encourage me. Hey, we have our first call. Let's see who it is. It's Mr. Greg. All right. Ding dong, Mr. Kramer. Nice to see you for the first time. How are you doing? Are you there? Speak. No, I don't hear you, my friend. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I think... Is it because my studio is using the Yeti? And no? Try to speak again, because you should be on. No, on my side, everything is open, so I don't know. Yeah, but the purpose was to have like your voice heard. What I could do, though, if you don't mind to be seen, I could give you the link for the studio and you'll be like a podcast guest. That's the other option. But I'm curious, like, I don't know, Ryan, if you're still with us, if you could join on Zoom to test, because for me, everything is green on my side, so we should hear you, Greg. I'm so disappointed, like... Let's see again here. No, everything is fine. Ah, go ahead. No. I kind of hear you very in the background. Could you pop up the volume, maybe? So, so while waiting to see if Greg could join us on the call, I just want to remind everyone that 50% sold out for the Scrum beer. So once again, you will have the link in the description. Here's Ryan coming up. We'll see if it's my side or...
Testing.
Oh, yes. Greg.
Yeah, am I in?
Yes, you're in. Okay.
Excellent.
Excellent. So what was that? Because I'm green everywhere.
Yeah, no, we were good. That was on my end. My bad.
Okay, no problem. It's called user experience. So nice to meet you finally, Greg.
Yeah.
And as I said,
no, I think,
there's someone
we've got the Mike Beadle connection, so that was, and the Dan Mezek connection too. So
amazing.
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you finally here, and then I'm a Hamill fan and a Deming fan and kind of all the usual like big name.
Yeah, but I liked it when you wrote me because, as I mentioned in the opening of the show, I had 3 inspiration to do this topic today. One of the developer team that I did the training lately, they were asking if Agile was a subversive way of bringing more socialism or communism. And then when we have an exchange on LinkedIn about Denning last book or something, you said like you affirm that he's a communist. And so I said, okay, so let's bring out this topic. So what do you say about this? And I know Ryan will maybe join later a little bit, but is it too binary or because for sure I believe
I
it's.
think that was, that was just kind of an intentionally provocative and probably overly dramatic way of framing things just to, get some discussion going.
Yeah, because me too. I'm not in the duality. I don't believe in this versus that. And every time I see an article, Scrum Master versus Agile Coach, I find it very useless. But I mean, at some point we have to have title to attract people. But when we have the discussion now, but nevertheless, do you see how much? If you said we have a middle connection, so business agility probably. How do you see the fact that 20 years ago it was more agile software development and delivery of goods and product and uncovering new ways of satisfying the client with the lean kind of thinking and stuff. And nowadays, don't you think, I don't know if you work in an organization, they go into digital transformation or into what have you. So what do you think of those people with no background in technology, no background in business, becoming agile coach and just talking about diversity, inclusion and equity and stuff like this and this ESG program for standardization of all the corporations. So what do you make of this? Do you observe the same thing in the United States that we do in Europe and Canada, or?
There's just so many things to discuss there. I guess the first thing since I'm just getting to know you, is all the orange a hat tip to Bitcoin since that's the color of. Is that why you have all your stuff orange?
No. I was orange before Bitcoin, and gladly they choose that color. I don't remember for which reason. I think the Satoshi gang were thinking about the sun rising, so that's probably why it's orange. That's the story I've got in 2010. But orange was already my color. Huh?
It makes you look like a total hardcore Bitcoin.
Of course, and like Max Kaiser, Max Kaiser, he has this orange building.
I wouldn't be able to distinguish.
Yeah. So
it's you and Max or orange.
He's a good friend, by the way. So.
Oh, he is.
Yes, he is.
Oh my goodness! Wow, so you are.
And Tim Draper. I don't know if you know Tim Draper.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of met them a couple of times in this sphere of decentralized finance and investment and new ways of being more autonomous. It's all about this. But that's the thing for me. And Daniel Mizik nailed it in the comment of my post I did early this week. He said, "Oh, now you're throwing the moves on the table about decentralization and centralization. This is it. It's exactly that." And position.
Yeah, I don't have any idea why he's not here. I think he should be in this conversation. So should
Jason. Yeah, but
I'm not pleased that either one of them haven't shown up here. It's ridiculous.
But anyways, so share your thoughts because it's an open line for the next 20 minutes or so. So tell me, tell us, to my audience, especially now, it's the podcast recording right now for the Real Agile. We have a lot more. We have an audience of 5,000 people all across the world. Even in Brazil, they all speak English. So what's your thought about this kind of topic of, that people talk about?
Yeah, I've been, because we, you and I, the way we intersected was kind of having, and you've been in the space a super long time, and these guys, that are the leaders of, the Scrum and that, I've been orbiting in that world since about 2017. Maybe a little bit earlier, but Mezek was a central guy for me to get involved. So that was really, I was a big Tom Peters fan, and Tom Peters is he talks even, I think he's pushing 80 now, but he's talked really his whole career about, humane, extreme humanism, human over technology, all these things that, have been attracted to me my whole business career. And then, you get Sutherland and Scrum, and then, Daniel introduced me to, maybe it was 2016. I don't forget how far back my friendship with Daniel goes, but it's getting to be a long time. And then, I ran into Mike Beadle and, all these topics and, the way that like someone like Mezek, he's not a guy in a bar when he says something like it's, just centralized versus decentralized, because anyone at a bar having a beer could say that, right?
Yeah.
And so, when you've got Mike Beadle, when you've got, these, 20 years under your belt of implementing software and, kind of the most sophisticated organizations, there's a sense of accomplishment there that these guys, that I actually don't like to hear myself talk as much as hear guys like Sutherland and Mezek and, these people that have been in the trenches of these organizations, Mike Beadle and stuff being one of the first guys that did Scrum in an organization. And, the tragedy of him never really, getting enterprise Scrum launched. But yeah, I think, all these, all these incredible topics that are so important for the next leaders.
Yeah, speaking of generation, that's the thing right now. When I work with mostly startup in Latin America, of these young people, I don't know if they call them the Z or the Alpha new generation. I don't know, because they're about in the 20s, early 20s, mid 25, out of college. I'm thinking they don't care about all of these concepts or methodology or whatever. They just want to make money. They want to make a living. They don't want to work as we did in the corporation, 9 to 5, blah, blah, blah. So they create they're self-aware more than we were. And they want to be creative. They want to be innovative. They want to change, not changing the world, but they just want to create their own employment. And I make connections sometimes, because when you look at the decentralized finance, the Bitcoin, because the rest is centralized. All the other shitcoins are centralized. I'm not the only one saying it. Michael Saylor is analyzing it. Even Cathy Wood, that I kind of despise sometimes, she started getting it. She started understanding now that Ethereum is a centralized coin owned by Vitalik. So that's the problem. When people purchase the crypto, because Bitcoin is one of the crypto, but it's the only one decentralized that it's owned by no one. It's owned by the community of co-creator. So for me, I think the model of the Bitcoin and the blockchain revolution, especially as described by John McAfee, the late John McAfee, that should be a model for the business agility. Because for me, if you want a true sense of business agility and other thing, it have to be decentralized. It have to be tailored to a specific fit-to-purpose context within organization. And when we talk about large-scale organization, I work in a big bank. If they apply for 25,000 employees, exactly the same model, it won't work. And people will start screaming, Scrum doesn't work. No, because they will be better off with a DevOps type of thing and the way they deliver goods to their user. So that's, people don't understand that. They don't understand the need of tailoring the thing to the business context and also probably the technological context or the complexity or not the thing. So that's why it's not working, because people are just probably because their fear to fail. So we're still in a culture that if you fail, you have to continue the plan anyway, instead of stopping it. And I was speaking about it in a dinner last night with some.
I mean, a lot of these guys have been, if we take a look at Hamill, for instance, for how long now has he been saying that, if he goes into an organization, be it a bank or any organization, and he sees something that looks like a traditional hierarchy, he's just out. He's like,
yep.
This is a dead company walking.
Yep, exactly.
So how long has he been saying that? So I don't think Hamill's a Bitcoiner.
No, he's been saying it for 35 years.
Yeah,
I think roughly. I think Gary. You talk about Gary Hamel, right? You're talking about Gary Hamel. Gary Hamel.
Yeah, Gary Hamel,
yeah, exactly. Right. For the last 40 years, I might say. Probably.
He's at some point, the Bitcoin thing, fix the money, fix the world. you would say these, and Hamill has said that in his books, that these companies that have traditional hierarchical structures are dead, and they don't know it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get these, executives that are more at the tail end of their careers, and they're just trying to limp it out for the last, bit and get their little retirements and coast off and lay low, right? So for a lot of these folks, if you kind of look at everything, in my opinion, everything post 2008, the great financial crisis, everything beyond that is bullshit. Like they've done all this, smoke and mirrors manipulation of the monetary supply.
Yep.
QE, Project Twist. And it's central planning. And we all know central planning doesn't, how many times does this, hubris and how many times do we have to learn this lesson?
Every cycle of 10 years back in the day with the recession and correction of the market, we're doing that. So you said 2008, that was a big crisis. But even in 2001, the recession of 1982 with Reagan and Thatcher was horrible. They started central planning even then.
That's right, you could say.
So, and even I don't want to go back to, probably the last centuries was the kind of, since 1913, when the Federal Reserve Act was enabled in your country, this is when the shit start falling down apart, I think, fiscally speaking, because the real economy been tossed aside for this financial type of economy from the, whoops, we lost Ryan. I don't know why. Okay. So, but Craig, the other thing that I connecting with these blockchain revolution of decentralized finance is when I see those young entrepreneurs asking a guy like me to help them with a Scrum-based type of thing to kind of embrace a way of delivering goods, and they want to create their own job. They want to be autonomous. And the Bitcoin movement is not necessarily, it's becoming a commodity right now, sort of speak. Will it replace gold? I leave it for another debate. But the thing is, it was created also for the bankless, for those people who won't have access to a bank account. So they becoming their own bank. So you could not have it with Ethereum and all the other shitcoin. I'm so sorry. It's not, you don't own it. But the Bitcoin is yours forever if you're safe. Yeah. Hey, Ryan, welcome.
Hi, Ryan.
We have about 12 minutes to exchange, so let's exchange all together. Do you know Craig?
I don't.
Sure.
I saw you in the YouTube chat, Greg. So I'm
right,
Ryan. Happy to see you. Kind of on my phone, I can't see the whole screen. But
no problem. And as I mentioned, you are audio only because that's the recording of the Day Real Agile. And even if I'm live on YouTube and Rumble, we don't see your face right now. So just be at ease and just exchange on the ideas. So.
Oh, because I can see you and Greg on the Zoom. So
on the Zoom, yes, of course. But you're not on the studio. I'm not pushing those images on the live stream. That's what I'm saying. So it's more like a modern there call-in, if I may say so. So Ryan, what do you think about this?
I wanted to check in just to kind of let you know I was here and listening, and I think. I don't want to stomp on where you are in the big topic, but I mean, it was. I think the obviously the frame is a provocative one: capitalism versus communism, and I think those are, and there's so many different flavors. I mean, there's so many different forms of each of those things are so many different uses. Mm-hmm. And communism is such a trigger word for those of us here in America because of the last 50 years.
I know
that any kind of collective benefit, any kind of I wouldn't even say social change movement that is moving from a rugged individualist to a collectivist. I can't even say collectivist without triggering,
I got you, but that's the purpose. Let's have a frank discussion about it. So express yourself, my friend. It's yours.
Again, I don't know what I feel, but sometimes it feels like it's not okay to say you don't know really which way you want to go with it. Do I want to be independent? Yes, I want to be independent. Do I think that the Agile Manifesto has embedded within it some kind of code for communist collectivist.
Hold on. Okay, now this
so-
is not the purpose. The inspiration for that topic today of the show is nothing to do about the manifesto. It's nothing to do about the intention of the 17 guys that meet together. It's about
so that I think is where we
I got, as I said in the intro of the show, it came from 3 triggers for me. Lately, I don't know for what reason, but when I was teaching agility and Scrum to some teams, they were asking me if there's a social engineering behind that. They're not.
Someone asked me that too in the training I was in.
You too, okay. And also, Steve Denning just put a new book called Reinventing Capitalism. You have Richard Barrett, the ex-leader of the World Bank, who created the conscious leadership movement and conscious capitalist movement. And you have, and also Craig, who is here, wrote to me about how Denning is a communist. And coming from an American...
What does that mean?
I know. So let's ask him. Let's ask him what does that mean. Was it a trigger? So for me, it's not about the social system, but also when I did some research to see if some other people have spoke about Agile and communism, for instance, I found a couple of articles on Medium and GitHub, but it's come from PMPs who see Agile as the Communist Manifesto in terms of utopia. So that's why they explain that Agile always fail, like communists always fail. So that was our topic for me. That was not the topic. For me, the topic was the fake Agile denounced by the last article of Denning about the sweatshop, creating those...
I hadn't read that. I'm glad you shared that article in the...
Yeah, I will do. And the reason I took the PDF, it's because even with my ad blockers, when you are on the website of Forbes, it's disgusting. Yes, you have pop-up everywhere, so I cannot share the screen with like that. But I will, as I said, on the Pine Comment of YouTube and Rumble, you will have the link, or I could send it to you on your private message for you two guys as a perk. But and more than that. But yeah, so for me, of course, it's a shocking title. It's like a year ago we did a podcast speaking about is Agile Feminism. Because the people ask this question, it's all, but for me, their real Agile is talking about things that people barely think, and so she triggered us. It was an article on Medium again. She says like, oh, it was only white guy, so she forget that Mike Beadle was the Latino.
Oh, this is the Suman Sarkar.
Yeah,
by default Suman, right? He totally comes in with that. And this it's hard to put a space in yourself between like someone comes out and calls this, you know, whatever pejorative about the Agile in general.
Yep.
And it's hard not to just kind of say, well, no, but to show this is the thing. Are you coming from a place of contempt or a place of curiosity?
Exact.
Right.
A real openness. A real openness of uncovering new ways of addressing those subjects. So I think
I thought I heard you chime in. I wanted to make sure that didn't stomp on you.
What?
Well, this is just such a, so many deeply charged topics. So congratulations to you, Coach AF, for, taking on a big topic like this that we all have strong opinions on. I think everyone, we could just kind of go door to door here on these topics, and everyone would have, very strong opinions.
But the thing is, if we go back to the basic, the reason for the Agile Manifesto back in the day, it was to stop that kind of war framework and having a common value. I know commoner could be another trigger for Americans, like collectivists and stuff like this, but I mean, they just try to collaborate together. And I saw a couple of associations, they claim that in the Agile and business agility movement, 2023 should be the year of collaboration, because what they feel that we are splitting again, and but again, it's become to collaboration to enforce what, a centralization of thought, or could we,
as far as provocatively calling Deming a communist? I do know I loved Steve Denning's work. So again, all the stuff he's written, I've been a big fan of. But I think he comes out of the World Economic Forum, and all his stuff seems bent lefty to me. And so, I think, this idea that Bitcoiners have anyway, this idea of fix the money, fix the world, I think Denning would be in that camp of people that, sort of think that they can, manipulate the money supply to have this agenda. And so I think in that regard, I would like to see, the Bitcoiners that are, say down in El Salvador now, and the Scrumster. So that's really going to be, since they made Bitcoin legal tender in El Salvador, these businesses that emerge when, you're trying to, operate your business on a Bitcoin standard. And to me, I guess my idea is that a lot of these, these ideas from Mike Beadle and Jeff Sutherland and Hamill, that potentially they flourish in a Bitcoin standard world.
It is because of this autonomous idea that promote the self-awareness and the self-organize of individuality over collectivity. That's the thing. And when you say Bitcoiner, they fix the money, fix the world, I will say it's only 5% of our community with that mindset. Most of the Bitcoiner that I met and I network with in the last 13 years are mostly more libertarian type of mindset. Okay, about like, leave us alone. And if we need to help each other, we'll have our back.
My seat of the pants estimation of the Scrum crowd is that they've been heavily left.
It's been a bit what?
It's a heavily leftist crowd. And like the same way that, say, not everybody at Twitter was a lefty, but Elon took it down from 8,000 down to 1,500, right? And that, just by virtue of being in San Francisco, by, working for a tech company, you're going to have in terms of Trump, I don't want to get super political, but just, I think that would be a factual thing. If you just looked at like Trump voters at Twitter versus, Biden voters, right? And I would say it's going to bend 80 to 90%, Biden. I might be wrong, but I just, my sense of the Scrum crowd is it breaks heavy left too.
I don't know. I don't know, because again, for me, asking that question was more about what is work best. Is it to be innovative? Do we need a safe space or an open space? Do we need to have a more, do we have the free expression to express our ideas? Or we have to be a yes man and yes woman to a certain type of thinking? So this, I think we are in a movement. And right now, I've got some colleagues for the Scrum Alliance gathering in Lisbon. Their paper was refused, even paper talking about Mike Beadle innovation, because it was not enough into the range of what Scrum Alliance was expecting about the diversity, inclusion, and equity again.
Yeah, I mean, I can barely restrain myself.
I know, no, you're free. They're real agile. You could use the F and the S word. The only word I don't want is the N word, but all the other words you could do this. I mean, but that's the thing. So we see now, and I've got a coachee. She's doing a master in sociology, and her memoir was declined because it was not enough inclusive. So we are there now.
I mean, you're going to get
inclusivity of what, for what purpose, and why?
Because she wanted to.
Those are the questions that aren't asked.
Yeah, but the thing, like you can now write a paper if you're not using certain words or certain aspect of describing.
I guess you're not against the current thing. So whatever the current thing is. So today it's the things we've gone through over. Like it seems like things become the topic of du jour. And if you don't have the right opinions on climate control or
exactly, it's always a streams. It's a streams of narrative that you have to be in it. You have to be in it. If you're not in it, we won't give you exposure. So that's the thing. Hey, Greg, just a minute. I know Ryan has to go, I think at 1:00. That's what you said in the chat, or?
Well, you said you were stopping at 1. I have someone who's asked for my attention. I said I'd be there at 1. I'm free for a little longer.
Okay.
Beyond that.
I mean, I have a 1:30 and I have to prepare a little for it, so that's why I'm asking you. But maybe I misread you when I said like 1 p.m.
No.
Okay. So Greg, I'm sorry to cut you out like this because I always try to keep the show within an hour and so on. But for sure, hey guys, what I could do with you, and we'll invite Danielle and others on the 13th of January, which is a Friday. Also, it's Friday the 13th. I'm going to celebrate not the Dare Real Agile, because I know listeners right now are listening to Dare Real Agile, but the Friday Live Agile will be the 100th episode. And I wanted to do an open mic. We're giving you the voice more than me talking. And it should be an hybrid type of moment, because I will be in a studio in downtown Montreal with people inside the room and people directly on the studio, not on Zoom. I will provide you a link to be in the studio, visually speaking. So if you're in for that, and you bring on the table whatever you want, it's not a review of my 100 episode before. It's anything you want to talk about: business, entrepreneurship, innovation, technology versus humanity, whatever. It's going to be an open mic, maybe for a 2-hour show or a 90-minute show, because I've been told by my coach not to do the Rogan of myself. It depends. But anyway, so that's an invitation for you, gentlemen. And you don't have to prepare anything. Just be authentic. Just be yourself. But I will give you more space within that 90 minutes. That's Friday the 13th, 12 Eastern. You're in Wisconsin. I'm assuming it's Central Time for you, Greg, or?
It is. Yeah, no, I'm in. Come in.
Good. So that's an invitation, and I'll try to have Danielle and others also to talk about it, and Michael Orman.
Now, so he's always got hot, provocative takes, and I've always loved his his advocacy for no forcing and invitation, and I just think that clearly he's really onto something.
And you know what? You know what? I might ask Mike Kaiser to join us too. Who knows?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that would be
if he could. Mike Kaiser is the orange man of Bitcoin, like this. He's the crazy Bitcoin advocate. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could actually get Max on, that would be crazy. But Max likes to hear himself talk. So the danger with Max is that he just gets up on a soapbox and an hour later, and he doesn't shut up.
You could be surprised. Well, I will have Stacy to come alone, and then Stacy will control him on the microphone or something like this. But we'll see. But at least I don't want to be this 100 episode to be just about Agile or Scrum. I want to be like about anything that touch.
I would love to have Jeff Sutherland, if you could pull him in. I don't actually know some of his thoughts on. He seems like he's kind of more in the background and.
Of what you mean? You mean the Bitcoin thing or the?
Just the like these big kind of issues you raise. I would just like to hear him rip on that and his takes.
We'll see. I might ask Danielle if it's because again it's in about a month. And people, so I don't know after Christmas, but anyways, so for you guys, it. I think I already sent an invitation to some people, Ryan, for the 13. So the 100 episode, I want to have an open mic and to give a forum to people to express themselves. They might be people from Montreal in person, and you on the screen. How are we gonna do this? It's gonna be amazing, I think, to celebrate 100 episode of Friday Live Agile. And today, guys who run with me because they wrote to me to say that they do their jogging or spinning, listening to the Dare Real Agile podcast from all around the world. And I have a Scrum mistress who's listening to me in Oslo. Thank you again for your gift and your Satoshi that you sent me last week. It's her. She called herself a Scrum mistress. Disclaimer here from Oslo, Norway.
Because not a master. I'm not a master. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So don't get me wrong, people. So thank you very much, Ryan and Greg, to have jumped into this open Zoom call, and to be continued next week, guys. I am going to be live, but very relaxed because it's going to be the Friday before Christmas, the resurrection of our Lord, the Son. So I'm going to be probably doing a kind of onward 2023. I don't like to do retrospective of 2022. It's useless, but let's inspect and adapt, thinking onward 2023 with reskilling or professional development. That might be the subject of next week. And just having it relaxed because it's a Friday just before Christmas. I'm not assuming that a lot of people will tune in. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for those who bought me a coffee. I really appreciate it. Remember to give a thumbs up to this video to help the channel grow. Share this video, this folly, this craziness of Coach AF if you like it. And I'll see you next week. And remember, you are a powerful person. You are a beautiful person. And you are free to be whoever you wanted to be and to do whatever you wanted to do with the golden rule and respect of one another. Thank you and have a great weekend.
Thanks for taking on such a bold topic.
In la cache.
In la cache à la ken.